Okay, Megapython versus Gatoroid. This is primarily based around an additional fight going on between Debbie Gibson and Tiffany. And there's also, I think it's Mickey Dolenz, one of the monkeys is in it as well. Essentially, Debbie Gibson's character is a doctor who has a very strong affinity for snakes. So she's also kind of like an eco-terrorist, because she actually goes out and she releases a bunch of snakes into the wild, in the Everglades. Snakes that, for some reason, become mega. So they become absolutely gigantic. Tiffany works for the forest, the forest reserve down there, and she's just getting concerned because all of a sudden all the gators are being eaten. And when she realizes the gators are being eaten by giant snakes, she then authorizes people to hunt the giant snakes, which leads to the initial clash between Tiffany and Debbie Gibson. And I was able to figure out how all of a sudden the snakes, beyond being like 15, 20 feet in length, also seem to have eggs that hatch almost instantaneously after their clutches were created. So she's having a problem trying to actually hunt the pythons because they're the top of the food chain, according to Dr. Gibson. She then decides to, I'm not making this part up, take dead chickens and inject them with a super steroid that does not inhibit muscle growth, and then feed said injected chickens to gators. The gators then become absolutely gigantic, and they begin to lay eggs. Their eggs are in turn eaten by the pythons. So one of the pythons gets to the point that it swallows a train. Another one attacks a blimp. Yes, they very quickly leave the Everglades and begin to attack a small city. And their sizes, of course, are inconsistent. At one point in time, you see the gator and its mouth is big enough to swallow a person. And then later, the gators are big enough that you can drive a car underneath them and not have to worry about even hitting anything. So I will say, this is one of the best things about it, beyond the cat fights between Gibson and Tiffany, is when they actually, the python and the gator actually fight. They fight a lot. Of course, they fight in really poorly done CGI. The weird thing is, once they get out of the water, the python and gators actually look better. They're still not rendered as far as they should be, but they actually look better. And of course, seeing this during the premiere of it, during the commercial breaks, they always had Tiffany and Debbie Gibson kind of give you like a slight repeat of what you just saw. They do make occasional mentions to the songs that they've done. You do hear someone go, "Wow, I think we're alone now." And one of the people in Debbie Gibson's group, as they're protesting the hunting, is wearing an old Debbie Gibson t-shirt. So this is not at all taken remotely seriously. And you can tell that most of what Tiffany's acting prowess is in the fact that she can, even though she runs the forest preserve, she can't seem to find a shirt that fits her properly. And during their cat fight, they do actually smear cake and frosting on each other. I am not joking. They fight during this giant party that's held as a fundraiser to help the estuary. This is just straight, stupid B-movie fun. Just flat out. None of this movie at all should be taken seriously. At all. I mean, this is just people fighting bad CGI monsters and occasionally watching Tiffany and her boys fight Debbie Gibson. And I still don't know why Debbie Gibson, she runs into a pond to escape a gator. I guess she doesn't know that gators are faster on water than they are on land. And then when she's rescued, miraculously she's dry like a scene later and back at her office. I don't know why she wouldn't change her clothes. And after they have their giant cat fight, which of course ends with them in the water, as the next day rolls around, they're still in the same clothes that they were drenched in the night before. So once you get past some of that and some of the bizarre foreground and background vegetation that gets added, you know, it is not at all taken remotely seriously, and that's what makes it something you actually could watch. Watch it because you have time to kill, but you can see, but it delivers on both ends. You can see the Pythons versus the Gators, and you can see Debbie Gibson versus Tiffany, and that's Syfy's original movie, Mega Python versus Gatoroid. Giant pythons fighting super steroid enhanced gators.